Since the year 2000, India hasn't suffered a single successful plane hijacking. It is a remarkable security record. But that safety exists only because of a catastrophic wake-up call. On December 24, 1999, Indian Airlines flight IC-814 took off for what was supposed to be a routine 2-hour jump from Kathmandu to Delhi. But shortly after lunch was served, 5 masked men stormed the aisles. They seized control of the cockpit and laid out their demands: $200 million and the immediate release of several high-profile terrorists from Indian prisons. What followed became the worst hijacking in Indian history. The true tragedy lies in the official response. A rapid cascade of institutional blunders by authorities allowed a terrifying yet geographically localized emergency to spiral into a massive international disaster. Over the next 7 days, the nation watched a sprawling, unprepared bureaucracy crack under extreme pressure. The fractures appeared immediately. Indian Air Traffic Control knew IC-814 was hijacked at 4:40 p.m., yet it took nearly a full hour for that intelligence to reach the Prime Minister. The information gap was so wide that key officials, including Punjab's local police chief, didn't receive secure operational briefings. They found out about the crisis by turning on their televisions and watching the evening news. Meanwhile, the aircraft was burning fuel. The hijackers were forced to land the plane in Amritsar, India. For a brief window, Indian authorities held a massive tactical advantage. The plane was sitting right on their home turf. This runway diagram illustrates the local response. While the crisis management group debated options, air traffic control tried an ad hoc blockade. They sent a fuel tanker speeding straight toward the plane, only for the driver to hit the brakes and stop abruptly. The hijackers, looking out the cockpit window, instantly recognized the trap. Panicking, they forced the pilot into an immediate, unrefueled takeoff, narrowly avoiding a collision with the stalled tanker as they sped down the runway. The timing was devastating. India's elite NSG commandos finally reached the airport at the exact moment the plane's wheels left the tarmac. During the chaos on board, the hijackers fatally stabbed a 25-year-old passenger, Rupin Katyal. India's absolute best chance at a domestic rescue evaporated in minutes, lost entirely to administrative hesitation and a poorly executed physical block. Back in the air, the desperate pilot was forced into a blind landing without runway lights in Lahore, Pakistan. After a brief stop in Dubai to release 26 passengers, the plane made its final descent. On December 26th, IC-814 landed in Kandahar, Afghanistan. The aircraft was now sitting squarely in territory fully controlled by heavily armed Taliban fighters. This map highlights the geopolitical trap. India did not formally recognize the Taliban government. They had zero military jurisdiction to launch a rescue operation, and the grounded plane was entirely surrounded by hostile forces and active ISI influence. Back in Delhi, the government faced intense domestic outrage. Relatives of the hostages stormed government press conferences, carrying signs demanding that the 150 civilian lives aboard take absolute priority over any political posturing. Physically isolated in a hostile nation abroad and politically besieged by furious citizens at home, the Indian government was stripped of all its negotiating leverage. With the Taliban acting as middlemen, India capitulated. To spare the remaining passengers, the government agreed to release 3 high-level terrorists from Indian prisons. The exchange took place on New Year's Eve. The released terrorists were given safe passage toward the Pakistani border. Only then were the battered, starving hostages finally allowed to walk off the tarmac and fly home. But the compromise carried a heavy, long-term cost. The militants released that day went on to form Jaish-e-Mohammed, a terror group responsible for orchestrating severe attacks against India in the decades that followed. The humiliation of those 7 days exposed fatal weaknesses in India's crisis management. The public trauma was so severe that the government was forced to completely rewrite its internal communication protocols and overhaul aviation regulations nationwide. Today, India's strict airport security ensures incidents like this don't happen. But that pristine modern safety record stands as an expensive, permanent monument to the systemic blunders suffered during the